So in my ongoing quest to remove things from my backlog, I have been doing one game per month because I'm an adult and I have stuff to do, so I don't get to play a whole lot of games. But this month, we're talking about one of the first games I have ever played on my Sega Saturn, and I want to thank my patron John for sending it to me because I really appreciate having this awesome machine in my collection now, as well as all the games he sent. And the game we're talking about this month is Fighting Vipers. And spoilers right off the bat, it's really good, mostly. There are definitely some things that it does show its age on, but if I'm looking at it just as itself, this game's excellent. So let's talk a little bit about what Fighting Vipers is. This was originally an arcade release, and it's been ported over to the Sega Saturn. That's kind of the short story of it, really. It's a little bit Battle Arena to Shinden, a little bit early Tekken. It's an enclosed cage arena fighter where you're able to knock people through the ropes or through the cage or through the walls. If you do so, you get a ring out and a victory. Otherwise, you just fight like you would normally in any of those 3D arena fighters. And this one's a really good example of it, and I'm kind of surprised it didn't take off more than it did. Like, this is something I really felt playing it now. I'm really surprised it didn't go further. Like, I'm surprised this wasn't something that Sega really embraced for the Dreamcast.
Hey everybody, Future J here, and I found out after I recorded the initial video that, yeah, there totally was a Fighting Vipers released on the Dreamcast. It just never came out here in the States, so I didn't know about it. My bad.
And just kind of kept pushing forward and having it as a normal IP release, but neither here nor there. So, what are the good things about Fighting Vipers? First and foremost, the gameplay mechanic is fantastic. Everyone plays slightly differently. So there are probably 8 or 10 characters that you're able to choose from, including the secret characters, Mr. BM, get your laughs out now, and Pepsi Man, who is awesome and fantastic and has a theme song and really... Okay, first off, listen to this. That theme song is epic. It is fantastic. It is one of the best theme songs ever in a video game. Thank you, Pepsi, for your Japanese corporate mascots, because this game is so much better for having Pepsi Man as both a playable character and as a new challenger approaches. It's great. It's absolutely wonderful. But each character, while all the controls are... I can actually probably put this down now. While all the controls are fairly similar, and every character does have kind of a standard set of movements and attacks and pacing and things like that, the way they attack and the different combos that they're able to do are all different. So you're not going to be able to just pick up every single character and fly through it with ease and think you're going to be able to play the same as every character. No, every character has their own individualistic styles, their own individualistic attacks, their own different ways that they do grabs and defenses and jumps and diving attacks and things like that. It's a very clever implementation. So there's going to be different characters that each person is going to like. Like, for me, I kind of really started enjoying, like, I love Pepsi Man's a blast. Absolute blast to play as. I really like playing as Picky. I really like playing as Honey. Bon is really neat. I really enjoy playing as Jane. Like, all the characters are fun, but there are some that I enjoy more than others. And I think that's just because each one kind of has their own signature style, and that's something I really appreciate in a fighting game. And that extends from just the fighting mechanics to the actual appearance of the characters as well. And that plays into one of the core mechanics of Fighting Vipers. Now, each character looks a little like 90s ridiculous, like kind of like extreme comics stuff, but that's okay because that actually plays into the game, which is pretty cool. So all the characters have like this kind of ridiculous armor that they have to wear, and as you play, you're going to continue to damage that armor, and you're able to actually break it off of them. They have both upper body and lower body armor. And if you break it off, you're actually able to do more damage to the character. Go figure, right? They don't have armor, they're going to take more damage. And it works brilliantly well. You have to adjust your gameplay style and the way you're blocking and the way you're moving if you want to survive when you lose your armor. Because if you do lose it, you're going to be taking significantly more damage. So you're going to want to keep your distance a little bit, do more dash in and dash out attacks, make sure that you're getting out of the range of the grab and simple combos, because otherwise you're dead in the water. The characters themselves are great, and I really do enjoy that each stage has its own unique feel to it. Even though they're all fairly generic in the grand scheme of things, there are some that are more strong than others, but the ones that really stick out to me are Raxel's stage, where you're actually going up the elevator on the side of the building, and I really like the Wild West stage, and I think that was Bond's stage. There's some that are pretty lame. Like Honey's stage is just 4 concrete walls with some posters on them, and those kind of suck. There probably could have been more done there, but maybe I'm just kind of being an unfair judge here and thinking of games that came after the fact that were 3D arena fighters that had more going on there. But stuff, if I think about it probably inaccurately, in this generation, they didn't have as much stuff going on the outside, and that's all right. Now, there are definitely some bugs in the game. It does have some slowdown apparent when you are on certain levels, like Raxel's stage, like I mentioned. While I do like that stage, first off, Raxel, worst character in the game, cannot stand him. It is readily apparent in that stage when you get into the corners that there is slowdown happening, and that kind of sucks. But overall, I think the game actually runs really well, which is nice for something that's on aged hardware and has, you know, it released in what, 1996? 1995 in arcades, 1996 on the Saturn. I mean, you got to expect a little bit of slowdown, and for the grand scheme of things, the fact that it performs as well as it does is pretty admirable. Now, the music in the game is spectacular. Every sound is great, especially Pepsi Man. I keep going back to Pepsi Man, but trust me, you want to unlock Pepsi Man in this game. And the music for all the other stages and all the other characters is excellent as well. There's some stuff that I didn't care for. Like, again, I'm going to go back to Raxel here. I don't like his character design. I don't like fighting against him. I don't like fighting as him. He's really the only one I don't care for, just because I just think he was kind of phoned in. I don't think he's all that fun to play as. And when you're playing on higher difficulty levels, the game is fun up until you get to him, and all of a sudden he's got God mode and you're not going to get through him. And that's a frustrating thing to experience. But once you get through him, the game gets pretty easy again. Jane's real easy after him, and then the last guy, BM, get your laughs in again, is he's a real easy character to fight. One of the things I really liked, and I'll actually show the clip here, is the first time I fought him, I actually beat him with Pepsi Man by kicking him through the ropes, and what I thought was just him clipping through and launching off, you actually see in the replay during the credit sequence, was him launching off one side of the ropes and out the other side, which is even more ludicrous for what's going on here. So physics are more of a suggestion in this game than they are in actuality, but that's all right. Overall, what do I think about this? I'm really impressed by this game. I was excited to play this because I remember seeing it in arcades. I remember seeing it at Rocky's Replay for a brief time, if I'm remembering correctly, or maybe I saw it at Disney when we lived in Orlando. I don't remember, but it was a game that I was intrigued by and I really wanted to try out. And when John sent it to me with the Sega Saturn, I was very excited to play it. And this was actually the game that was kind of the impetus behind this whole series, was because I wanted to spend some more time on my Saturn. That's why I'm going to be playing this one. I'm going to be playing Christmas Nights in December. It's a console that I just don't have a lot of familiarity with, so everything is on the backlog for the Saturn. I think I've only played Street Fighter the movie, the game. That was the only game I had on my Saturn when I owned it before it just disappeared. I'm really pleased with this one, though. This is a very competent fighting game. It's very fun. It's got a good challenge to it. It's definitely well designed, and it's so signature Sega, it's not even funny. Like, there's stuff in this game that I just look at and I go, oh yeah, that is definitely 1990 Sega. There's no question about it. Is it great? Yeah, I kind of think it is. It's something that shows its age. It's definitely a product of its time, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's something that I am going to be playing for years to come because it's just an excellent title. If you played Fighting Vipers, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Who is your favorite character? What is your least favorite character? What do you think about the mechanics of the game? And why is Pepsi Man the best mascot ever? If you want to see more from this series, you can check out last month's when I looked at Diddy Kong Racing. That is going to be on screen right now. And I would love to have you stick around, so hit that subscribe button. I mean, that just happened. That's kind of crazy. So thanks to everybody who's here from the EA Big video. I really appreciate you guys giving the channel a shot. And if you like retro games, if you like modern games, this is the place to be. Till next time, folks, remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.